Would you please put your hand together, one hand clapping, very Buddhist style, for Cameron Grace. This is their statement of bardic intent. What will they all do for you as bard?
Nothing. Thank you very much. I want to start with a poem, actually, and then I'll go and talk my waffle. I was thinking about what it would mean to be bard. I've been barred from a lot of pubs, if that counts, so I have some experience. But this is called to be the poet of something. Oh, to be Northampton's bard, to tell its stories to the world, to grip the microphone within its bars, to capture it in words. To bring wide-mouthed tales of me, to pepper footprints on its street, for 1 year, and 1 year only. I'd wish that to be me. And it's not about being proud of what you can find out on a map, or the rolling.gov rhetoric out on the Silverstone Saints and Steelbacks. No, not about who John Clare was, or where Cromwell sheltered down. History is Wikipedia's job, and it's not Northampton town. And I say that because there's a bard's job is to tell the stories, and in this age, the stories exist kind of within us. I walk from one bar to the next, going from one open mic to the next, talking absolute nonsense, as you're about to find out in the next 2 or 3 minutes. I'm timing myself. But as bard for Northampton, I'd go on my next tour next year with Under the Fable, which we do across the country, and I'd bring Northampton with me. I'd wear the shirt that's made for me by Suo, who are a Northampton fashion designer, because I look like a fashionista, and I would collect the stories that I hear everywhere around. And I like Northamptonshire. I've been kindred of this county all my entire life, bar 10 months when I was a baby in Australia. And my poetry always seems to reflect what I see within this town, what I see within the surrounding areas, and I think that's what I want to continue. But I don't just want to continue it just so I can walk into an open mic and go and say the word Northampton 37 times, because Northampton is only the line on a map that has been drawn and designated by certain people. The spirit of Northampton is kept within us. The voices of Northampton are what we hear when we're walking down the drapery outside McDonald's. It's what we hear outside the fountain. It's what happens on the racecourse when the umbrella fair is up. It's the mothers and their children. It's people who don't even necessarily listen to poetry. This town does not reflect what history has told us. And yes, we're famous for shoes. And yes, 30 miles down the road we're famous for the steelworks, but that is still not Northampton. Northampton is what means to us. And Northampton has a big arts culture. We look at Raising the Arwen, we look at the rumour quill from Northampton University, we look at things like Run Your Tongue that are down in Kettering, we look at the Under Fable verse case scenarios that are popping up, and poets are prevalent, and we need to keep that going. And it's not just the poets that we need to keep going, we've got the art gallery, we need to get out there for everyone to see, because art is prevalent and art is the heart of this county. There was some talk of people mentioning Northampton being the culture of the arts, and I think that's a fair shout. I think that if everybody stands together, if everybody gets their poems written and writes their songs and puts their music out there is no reason why we can't be, at least for 1 year, a town of culture. And to me, we are a town of culture, and that is what I will represent Northampton as for a year as. If I am voted the all-hallowed bard of Northampton, then that's what I will take with me to everywhere I go. To all the open mic nights, the 2 or 3 a week that I do, I will bring Northampton with me and let everyone know what life is within Northampton. Not the things that you can find on bbc.co.uk/Northampton or any council-run websites, but how it is like to live in Northampton, how it is to be proud of this county. We have plenty to be proud of. We have plenty to celebrate. And for 365 days, if you vote me as your bard, I will help you celebrate that. Take your stories, take your words, twist them around, put them in books, and let other towns know exactly how alive and how prevalent this town is. That's as much nonsense as I've got for today. I am now going to go and get absolutely wasted. So enjoy the rest of your evening.
Just in time to the stage? No? Yeah, I need the list though, don't I? As professional as ever, just in time sidles over languidly with a pint.
He talks about professionalism, honestly. It's like the yin and yang of professionalism. Bardic picnic, child protection, we the organisers. No, it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, the next entrant for the Bardic Chair Contest 2016 with his statement of Bardic intent is Mr. Mitchell Taylor. That professional of Pete.
Do another poem then. So I didn't really know how it works, and I forgot to write 3 poems. So I wrote this one between rounds 1 and 2. Always on the ball. So this is the Bardic intent. What would I do if I were Bard? Well, I guess I'd have to treat this place like it was my own yard. And I know I'm a bit of a messy bastard, but I do life with a lot of heart, and well, I know from raising the Arwen that disorganisation can be kind of an art. So let's push some unity with the Poetry Alliance. I mean, the Q's in the name, it's not exactly rocket science. I mean, there's one key step. There's one key step just to make your community grow. And that's when you join with your friends so that you can learn the things that they know. But as we push forward, it's important we don't make the same mistakes as the past. Now, if our foundations are crumbling, let's build them out of a stronger cast. From this mould, we can construct a kind and caring community. But it's more than that, it's all about love. I guess it's more of a family. So I stand here now with open arms. No artist tricks and no devilish charms. All we need is love being returned. A community that stands together, always grows and always learns. Cheers.
Pete was right, I am as professional as ever. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mitchell Taylor, eh? Sorry, he didn't do that for you, Cameron. Sorry, mate. Cameron Grace, eh? Are you all drunk? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next contestant is Paul there. Paul Giffney, is he ready? Oh, where is he? I hate unprofessionalism. Right, let's move on to the next contestant. Somebody go, Paul Giffney! Where is he? No, none of you were paying attention. You thought he'd just done his statement, hadn't you? No. Okay, let's have Bethany McTrustery.
A little bit. Yeah. Okay, so I'm really impressed because that's like one of the first times my name's been actually said correctly. I'd like to actually establish that the name on the ballot box is spelt wrong. So again, professionalism, there is an E before the RY, but that's fine, I'm not bitter at all. Okay, so I got told, well, I got redirected to a website saying for stage 3, you need to do a statement of Bardic intent. Who here knows what a statement of Bardic intent is? Well, you're a previous Bard, so I love you, but you don't count. I'm 21, you know, I have no idea what a Bardic intent thing is. So I did what all people my age do, and Googled it. Turns out Google doesn't know either. So I think I'm doing well here. So the second thing I did was, okay, right, so I've got to tell Northampton that what I want to do, what I want to achieve. So I asked my sisters, like, my sisters are younger than me, yeah, I think that they know what I'm about. And my youngest sister turns to me and says, don't try to be funny. So, on that note, she also told me to warn about any character quirks. The first probably negative character quirk I have is that I have a really bad taste in music. I'll give you an example. Who here likes James Blunt? Oh, can you just... That's okay, I don't have an awful taste in music then, there you go. No, you don't, no, I don't. Okay, the second to character twerk, that's not right. Character twerk is the fact that I have a really rubbish sense of humour. Why did the Mexican throw his wife off the bridge? Tequila! Yes, yeah, you see, so again, that's thrown out the window because actually I had a nice crowd. And then, okay, so I reached this stage where I'm like, okay, I have a vague idea of what I'm doing, and then I panicked a little and planned a lot. But one thing that I did notice on the website is the emphasis to honour the truth. So, the truth is, I met my best friend at an open mic night. I would probably have never talked to him if it wasn't for an event held in Northampton at the Old Bank. And I think that is probably one of the most amazing experiences of my life, because I'm not one of those people to go out there and be wild. I'm not the loudest person you know. But I met my best friend at an open mic night because we were both there. And 2 years later, I can't imagine not being his friend. This is probably one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, yeah, 21, I haven't lived a lot, but Northampton is something special. I have lived in Marham, Wittering, Gutterslow, Church Crookham, Peterborough, and yet Northampton is the only place where I've actually thought I could stay here. And yeah, you're a little shoe town, you're obsessed with traffic lights. I don't understand, but and you have a really weird amount of kebab shops as well. It's useful for certain occasions, but others you're just like, can I just have a shoe shop maybe? But yeah, you have something special. You make people want to come back, you make people want to stay. And for someone who has moved and lived in a lot of places, that is very enticing. There are acts that have performed on this stage that I would never have thought of, that I wouldn't have conjured in my wildest dreams. And that, the more I think about it, that is what we should be about. We should be like enforcing that this is important, that art and culture, no matter whatever happened, this is a tradition that has lasted hundreds and hundreds of years. Arts have been around longer than you and I ever will. And I think what has been established here could potentially last even longer as long as we put the effort in to make it thrive. So I want to create a network, a hub of activity where it doesn't matter if you're running a pottery class, a live drawing lesson, a knitting group. If you have an art, you should have a voice. And it doesn't matter how big or small the event is. I think it should have the appropriate limelight. And I feel that's something that we could really improve on. And I should say, oh, you should vote for me because I'm fabulous. But every single act on this stage who has gone for this position, I feel that they could do a very, very good job. Everyone has been simply astounding, and I couldn't be more honoured to share a stage with them. So, like, why vote for me? Well, why not? You know, thank you.
Awesome. Bethany McTrustery. Lovely Jodie. So, We're still looking for Paul Giffney. Paul Giffney. What the hell's going on with this? Paul Giffney, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine you're in Sainsbury's. Could Paul Giffney please report to the Lost Child desk? Lost Bard desk. No. Okay. So we've got Andrew Porter here, who's ready. So with his statement of intent, please put your hands together for one of the entrants of the first Bardic chair contest, Mr. Andy Porter.
I don't know exactly why you should vote for me, but I'd appreciate it if you did. I'm just going to read a quick poem and then I'm going to get off stage. Some might say, what is your occupation? Define yourself, you. I deliver souls to black holes. Take them to heaven. It makes me much closer to my God. Have you ever stared an event horizon in the face and escaped? The first few times I came close to being trapped there a ghost. But God shone on me and a council of angels agreed it was too soon, because I am youth, and my life is worth great things since rebirth. Things went for a moment as I tuned it back into life. I knew instantly I was half the boy I used to be. My mind so dull, my body undone, lost everything. Wept, I was so mad. Took me years to fix this mind, to leave behind the event horizon. The meaning of life became to live. I don't need anyone. My wants are another word. From what's in the pitch black, I was broken, now I'm outspoken. Spirit of fire awoken. Everyone I guide, every trip and emotional ride will make me grow inside. The realness of passion, my confident power, prowess, I devour. Lies and deceit, clean and repeat. Transform souls and make them complete. This is how you become mighty and slightly insane, but I'm tame. And how rude of me not to proclaim, what is your role, what are your aims, how do you do, and what is your name? Thank you.
Hey, gentlemen, Andy Porter. So we're still looking for Andy Giffney. Maybe he's just said, nah, too much hassle, don't want this, can't stand all these people staring at me, don't like it, don't like. Some people do like it, some people like standing on. Is that in there? No. Do you want to pretend to be Andy Giffney? Huh? Come on, man. Just say something. Just say, I'm going to do my thing for you. I'm no phantom me ding bum bum. So, ladies and gentlemen, while we're waiting to see if Andy Giffney turns up, we were inspired by the what? Oh, Paul Giffney. What do you think he won't? Do you think just that will put him off? Do you think the first name mistake we go, hang on, it's not, maybe my brother's entered. So Paul Giffney, sounds so like Andy Giffney, another entrant from last year. Paul Giffney. No, anyway, attention ladies and gentlemen. We were inspired by the Bard of Bath competition to do this. And in turn, Stony Stratford were inspired to do their own. So Stony Stratford have got a Bardic chair competition. I don't know if he ever won it. I think he did, in fact. He entered his own competition and won. And that's because he's very, very good. So please put your hand together for a 4-minute poem. And that's not long to pay attention, is it, you drunken bastards? 4-minute poem. Richard Frost.
Hello! And welcome to this, the 8th Bardic event of Northampton. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm so pleased to be invited to be part of this. This is such a wonderful event. I just want to say The Bard of Northampton began with Justin and Jim Tom and John Morrissey, and it basically became something that was a celebration of the alternative voice, the one who would speak but not be listened to, the one who would not be listened to but would speak. It's like the wise fool. The Bard is someone who exists outside of society. Not to be a part of society, but to be the part of society that is the alternative. And I can't explain this as well as Justin has. Justin has explained it far better than I could. But to be a bard, you don't want to be the mainstream. You are the alternative to the mainstream. And this is what we're celebrating here today. We're celebrating the alternative to the mainstream, and I'd like to just ask for a big hand for all of the organisers, the people that put this event together, who said we're not going to be the mainstream, we're going to be the alternative. Come on, put your hands together, and let's hear it for the Bardic Chair of Northampton. Now, I'd like to tell you a joke. Do you want to hear a joke? Okay, so a bloke walks into a pub, right? It was an iron pub. A bar, it was an iron bar. Right, I'll start again. A bloke walks into an iron bar. Not an iron bar. An iron man walks into a bar. Give me a minute, right? Forget it was a horse. A horse. A man walks into a horse. No. A man walks into an Iron Man walks into a bar. It was an Irish bar. No, that's not right. Forget it was a horse. A horse, right? A horse walks into a bear. Not a bear. Yeah, actually, why not a bear? Why? Horse walks into a bear. It was an ironic bear. And the bear says, why the long... And the horse says, what's with the big paws? I'll tell you what, I'll start again, right? A bloke walks into a pub, and due to some idiosyncrasy in his demeanour or appearance, he's perceived as deviating from the norm and failing to conform to convention, so consequently it's perceived as an object of their ridicule and doesn't fit in immediately, so due to some idiosyncrasy in his demeanour or appearance, he's perceived as deviating from the norm and failing to conform to convention, so consequently nobody takes him seriously. And he's regarded as the object of their ridicule. Well, conformity condemns those who are seen as being different from the mainstream, so he's perceived as being the object of their ridicule, and he fails to fit in, and everybody laughs at him, and he becomes a fool. But that's not the end of the joke. You see, this bloke was in the following week and tries to join the clique. Now, he doesn't fit in immediately, so he tries to share some poetry of his own. And so he shares some music, he shares some poetry of his own, but he tries to play along and fit in, but they don't like it, and so he doesn't really fit in, and so he goes home. But that's not the end of the joke. You see, this bloke goes back the following week and tries to join the clique, and he shares some poetry of his own, and they kind of tried to play along, but after a while he realises that he's not really one of them, and so he goes home. But that's not the end of the joke. You see, this bloke goes back to a pub, and he says to the landlord, I want to invite anyone who doesn't feel like they don't belong to come here one night, every night, and play songs and play music, and share poetry, and speak their words and share their thoughts, and speak their poetry, and and invite anyone who doesn't feel like they don't belong to speak their words and share their thoughts and say whatever they want to bring and inspire to invoke the spirit of gathering. And the landlord says, is this some kind of a joke? Wait, screw it up. I'll try that one again. So, a bloke goes into a pub. And he stands up in front of everyone and he shares his words and he speaks his thoughts and he speaks his mind and he invites everyone who wants to say anything they want to bring to invoke the spirit of gathering. And after a while, the bloke had been standing there. He realises that the bloke, the bloke walks into a pub and the bloke walks into a pub and after a while he starts to, he realises that the act that he put on was just an act. It wasn't really him. It was a part of him that he'd shown to be a part of himself, but it wasn't really him. It was just an act that he put on. And when he found he was standing there, and nobody really knew who he was just standing there on his own. And so he went home. Another way he told himself some jokes. Another way he told himself some jokes, and he said, how many blokes does it take to change some folk? Or how many folk does it take some blokes? Or how many times does it take to get knocked down before you stop getting back up again? But they didn't make him laugh because he'd heard them all before. Now, he hadn't been on very long when he heard a knock on his front door. Knock, knock. I can see you're more of a poetry crowd than a comedian audience. I'll try that one again with a call and response. He hadn't been on very long when there was a knock on his front door. Knock, knock. He thought to himself, but to spare us any confusion caused by trying to communicate through closed doors, he went and opened it instead, and found that standing there was a bear. Not a bear, a horse. Well, actually a bear and a horse. And the horse said, it's freezing out here, can I come in? And the bear said, bloody hell, a talking horse. And the horse said, I'm merely a plot device inserted at this junction after you've been thwarted thrice in your attempts to overcome your obstacle. To give you this advice, the learning from a journey could come from the route that you take to get there, not when you arrive at the place. Now go and try one last time, for it will be your saving grace. And the bloke said, all right, but tell me just this one thing. Why the long face? And the horse said, well, I live with chronic depression. It's a debilitating condition. You would try walking in these shoes. And he trots off, leaving the joke about the bear behind. So, the bloke walks into a pub. And he stands up in front of everyone and he starts to tell a joke about a bloke. About a bloke who, due to some idiosyncrasy in his demeanour or appearance which demonstrates a distinct inclination to always want to do things differently, doesn't fit in immediately, and he becomes the object of their ridicule. And the bloke telling the joke tricks them into listening to the greater truth about how those who raise their heads above the barricade are often made a target for the slings and arrows of the crowd below. How it's the nail that stands out that gets hammered down. And about how the higher a monkey climbs a tree, the more you can see of its arse. About how those who do things differently belong to a minority who are prepared to do things differently and be excluded from the mainstream because they are prepared to ask the stupid questions and say the things that nobody wants to hear. like what if and why not. And they say and do unusual things which challenge the authority of the overall majority and disrupt continuity, but make the others stop and think. And they forge the link in the chain that will create the change that is necessary. But how does the joke end? I suppose we'll never know, because in accordance with the rule, he's now become the object of their ridicule. So I'll tell you this. A bloke goes into a pub, stands up in front of everyone and starts to tell a joke, and the joke goes, have you heard the one about the man who played the fool? Thanks. Thank you very much. That was a joke, but the reality is that the fool, the wise fool, the bard is someone who stands outside of society, and he's prepared to say the things that no one wants to hear, and he is enabled to say and understand and speak the words of wisdom. And this is why we're gathered here today. We're gathered to understand the Bardic tradition. The Bardic tradition, which is to celebrate the word, not to be part of the mainstream, but just to understand that we're all one, and we all understand the word. Thank you.
Nonsense. Right, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Frost! Half of you heard, half of you listened. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the Bardic chair contest. We're back in the room. We found Paul Giffney. We found him. He was suckled to a cider teat somewhere out there, but he's still sober enough to give you his statement of Bardic intent. Please welcome Mr. Paul Giffney.
Okay, so my hands and mouth were not on any teats. Just to clarify, otherwise my husband would kill me. Darling, I love you. No teats in my mouth. Anyway, ladies, gentlemen, I am very sorry to everyone. What is a bard? A bard is someone who gets your attention. Straight away you're listening to me. Could you put your hand up if you're listening to me? Right, that means suddenly I've got your power, okay? If I said, tell me your PIN number, are you going to do it? No. Two things. One, because PIN number is a tautology and it pisses off a lot of people who are grammar Nazis. Put your hand up if you hate apostrophes in the wrong places. See, straight away I'm already losing an audience. Now, how to get an audience back? Could you put your hand up if you are still listening to me? More people are listening to me now. Now, I could just keep doing this, however, that would be boring as a bard, boring as a storyteller. We need to get people to listen, not talk. Everyone talks, I'm talking random. It seems like I'm talking a load of random hibbly-bobbly boop. Now, that is partly true, A, because I'm nervous, B, because it's my first time, or I'm all innocent, no. But thirdly, it is because the people out there are not in here. Why? A, we're on a limited space. B, we need to be out there sharing stories. If you haven't looked at your family tree, if you have examined the idea of telling someone else's story, why is it only kids as a society get told stories? When was the last time you told a story? Not, oh yeah, did you hear about Hilda at work? Yeah, oh my god, she's done this with... No. Not stories like that, but... Once upon a time. Are you sitting comfortably, everyone? Yeah? Once upon a time. Let me tell you a story. There was a time when people would do this. We would sit round having fires. We would actually not have mobile phones, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Oh my god, lol. Okay? We would have one person talking. And then everyone would listen. And they would applaud, and they would give drinks, and the next person, and the next person. And we would use that as our social media to communicate a message, to inform the people around us. And here you are listening to me. What's my message? I have none. I have my own stories. You have yours. But what is Northampton's story? What is Northampton's media? At the moment, Snapchat, Instagram, lol, etc. But everyone here has stories. But have a look around right now, okay? Mostly white, fair enough. Mostly middle-aged, slightly under, yeah. And now we're starting to look at demographics. We're starting to look at who is listening to the stories, and yet who in the media is controlling the stories. Now this isn't the whole tinfoil cap time of actually explaining the bardic intent. I don't want to control the media, but we can control our media. And if we get people telling different stories, our stories, the truth, then we will be able to hear, we will be able to listen, and the people there can organise more of this, and we can challenge the truth and have more truth. People, regardless of who you vote for, please keep telling stories. Thank you very much, everyone.